Welcome to Oyate Today. Oyate in Lakota means people. Brought to you by Native Sun News Today. Hi, welcome to Oyate Today. I am your host, Richie Richards. Oyate Today is produced by Tim and Jackie Gallego. Tim is an enrolled member of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Today our guest is Sergeant Ken Franks of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, Department of Public Safety. Thank you for being here, Sergeant Franks.
And thank you for inviting me up today, sir.
Our discussion today is going to be regarding seatbelts and car seats on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And so, Mr. Franks, if you could give us a little bit of information and background and your history of being with public safety in Pine Ridge.
Great. Yeah, I started with public safety in July of 1997. Went to the police academy in October of 98. Graduated from the academy in 99. I was a police officer with the patrol division for 10 plus years. Took a break, came back in highway safety in June of 2011. I've been with the highway safety program since June of 2011.
Okay, nice. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate it.
In regards to the issue of child restraints and seatbelts on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, when did public safety start this child safety seat initiative or program? I know that there's been a big push in recent years.
It started probably in 2009, 2010. The Indian Health Services had a grant for child safety seats. We had a grant worker inside there, and she worked with the highway safety supervisor at that time, which was Richard Greenwald. And when the grant ran out in, say, 2013, my program, the highway safety program, took over, and we started issuing the car seats and child safety seats on the reservation ourselves. So I would believe it's right around 2013 that we started with our department started with the child safety seat issuance.
That's awesome. That's actually a little later than, say, the states, South Dakota state or other states around the country. At the same time, it's a great program, and any time to start a program like that is a good time. So I appreciate that. Since 2013, what changes or improvements have you seen? And are tribal members compliant with this program?
Yes, they are. I've seen changes. I've seen where more and more people are using child safety seats since the program started, like I said, with the Indian Health Services grant. With their program and my program, we've given out somewhere near 1,600 car seats to families on the reservation. More and more people are using them. We've had car crashes in the past that with unrestrained occupants and unrestrained children, we had more and more fatalities. We were seeing a decline on that now, that we're not having as many children or people dying from using either the seat belts or the child safety seats that we've given out. We see more and more people are using them. We see family members, they call us up and they call and make appointments to come and get a child safety seat. And we have every Thursday, there's never been a Thursday gone by that we haven't had people come by or make appointments for child safety seats. So I know that more and more are using them. As far as being compliant, I would say yeah, because when they moved the fine up in July of 2011, and with the education from going to the schools and different programs, with either my program or Indian Health Services program, more and more families are using them. You can see it more on the reservation, and it trickles off to places in Rapid City and in Nebraska.
So when you talk about in 2011 the fine going up, what was the fine? And obviously, are we talking about the fine for an unrestrained child or an unrestrained adult? So the fine was at what point before 2011, and what is it currently?
Well, see, in '97, the Tribal Council passed the seatbelt ordinance for a primary law, and it made the fine $35 for occupants inside the vehicle. In July of 2011, they passed another modification to it, improving the child safety seat, the child restraint fine, from $35 to $250 per child inside the vehicle. So since 2011 in July, when we first got the ordinance signed and given to us, They moved the restraints up to $250 per child, and it's cut down greatly since then for the number of people, children inside the vehicles not being restrained. We had a real tough push at that time for people when the fine first got moved up. People were calling. We couldn't get enough car seats in for the people. Now it's tapered off. More and more people are using them. People are buying their own, getting some from, say, the hospital. The hospital used to try to give them out, but now, like I said, they've come back down to my program, and again, the fine matches it because we've lost so many children on that. So,
outside of the Department of Public Safety, where else outside of this program can families on the reservation go and buy or purchase car seats? And is there a store or a place where they can purchase these on their own? Or is this a very vital program that's providing these in a much needed area that doesn't have access to those? So could you give me a little bit more information about how accessible these are and where families can go to get these?
all right. On the reservation, we don't have any places that actually sell any child safety seats. My program, I believe, is the only program on the reservation that gives out child safety seats. We give them out for free. If there was wanting to buy one, you'd have to go to like a Walmart or Target or a Costco or someplace and buy them that way. As far as on the reservation, like I said, we give them out every Thursday. People generally just have to call, make an appointment. It takes 30 minutes to come in. We give them a class on how to use them. We show them how to use them. Take them out to the car. We fit them to their children to make sure they have the correct one. Take them out to the car, let them put them in, show them to ensure that they've done them correctly. But as far as any other program on the reservation, I know that the Indian Health Services used to give them out for newborns. So if you expecting mother would have a baby, they would give them out so you could leave the hospital with your child being safe and secure inside your car inside there. But I know that when some parents have to be sent up to Rapid City, they wouldn't let them leave without getting a car seat, so they would stop, and expectant mothers can pick them up from us as well. So I'm due, I'm gonna have my baby anytime, so they'll come down. We'll issue them an infant carrier. They'll come up to Rapid City, they'll have their child, and they'll be able to leave with their child because they have a car seat given to them by us.
Sure.
But as far as, like I said, there isn't a store on the reservation that sells them. There isn't another program that I'm aware of that gives them out. There used to be one, and then when the Indian Health Services grant started, then we picked up all their child safety seats and we started distributing them as well.
Sure. This is a very vital program indeed. Just for our viewers' sake, who would they call? What number should they call? What's the phone number, and where are you guys located on the reservation?
All right, so if we have a parent or a family that needs a child safety seat on the reservation, it's easy to call. You call 867-8170, and then the lady that helps me out, her name is Connie Cooney, and she'll answer the phone. She's the one that schedules our appointments and for those Thursdays. And it's easy to find if you go into the village of Pine Ridge itself and you drive like you're heading south on Highway 407 going towards Nebraska. They have a new center out there called Justice Center for the People. Well, our office is located inside that building, and she'll give you directions on how to get there. It's right inside the village of Pine Ridge, or right on the skirts of it, just before the Nebraska state line.
Sure.
At the new facility out there. And you just come inside there, we have garages, we have pool, so we do it year round. It's not, well, we can only do it in the summertime because we're outside, or we can only do it in the springtime when the weather's nice. And even when there's snow on the ground, we have garages that the families can pull inside, and even when it's hot, we put them inside the garage. That way the children aren't outside in the cold or in the heat, and we bring them to the office, they fill out some paperwork, and as soon as we give them as soon as we get all the paperwork done, we get the class done, we make sure the fitting is correct, and we make sure the placement is correct inside the vehicle, then it's free to go. It's nothing more than that. It's not a dime out of anyone's pocket that needed one. It's all funded by either the tribe or public safety or from the Bureau of Indian Affairs Indian Highway Safety Program.
Sure. Very vital program indeed.
Right.
I'm really grateful for it. We're going to take a break to get a word from our sponsors. When we return, we'll we'll talk a little bit about the abuse of the program and some of the statistics of why this program is so needed on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. So we'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Closed captioning for Oyate Today, brought to you by West River Ear, Nose, and Throat.
Clark had joint replacement surgery 6 months ago. To his grandson, he is still the MVP. Black Hills Surgical Hospital, bringing more life to your years.
You know, it's really busy in the coffee house, not just in the morning, but all day long. And it's really important that we serve our customers hot coffee that's ready for them when they're ready for it.
We get that, Michelle. And our team at Black Hills Energy will make sure you have the electricity you need to keep that Java nice and hot. Speaking of hot Java, how about a cup for the road? Black Hills Energy. Life sponsored by Energy.
When I'm here, I win.
This fall, with a stay-and-play package, one great price lets you experience the best that Prairie Wind has to offer. Great gaming, delicious food, and a one-night stay. Only $99.99 Sunday through Thursday, $149.99 Friday and Saturday. Only at
Prairie Wind Casino. Feel the wind.
Native Sun News has been voted the best weekly newspaper in its class for 2015 by the South Dakota and North Dakota Newspaper Associations. You can find a copy of the Native Sun News at many businesses and vending machines in Rapid City and the surrounding area, and on all 9 reservations. We publish every Wednesday, so advertisers and subscribers can reach our diverse readership by calling 605-721-1266. The Native Sun News covers the other side of the story.
Hi, welcome back to Oyate Today. I'm your host, Richie Richards. Tonight our guest is Sergeant Ken Franks with the Oglala Sioux Tribe Department of Public Safety. Before the break, we were discussing the need for child restraints and seatbelt use on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. I had mentioned before the break about the abuse and misuse of this particular initiative and this program. Has this program been misused in any way, and if so, how so? You know, in regards to tribal members being gifted with these car seats and then possible misuse of that program by certain family members or certain families?
I would say there was been misuse. When I first started taking over on the program or buying child safety seats for the program, we had bought some real, I would say, top of the line, real expensive ones. Like all car seats, again, been tested and rated, and they're good. But we bought the ones that went from newborn all the way to where children need them. So they were the high end ones that were expensive. So people were getting them from us, and then people were telling me, "Well, I'd seen your car seat at a garage sale, or I seen it on a swap shop, or I seen it somewhere. Someone was selling it." And so when we started doing away with those, we went going with the run-of-the-mill ones. They cut back on that portion of it. The other misuse we have is the idea is to give every family member, every family that has children, a child safety seat for that child. So we're looking at trying to continue, but if we had some family members that would send, the mother would come in and get one, and then a couple months later the father would come in and get one, or the auntie would come in and get one, and so we end up giving 3 or 4 seats to the one family for the one child. Mm-hmm. So which would take away from other families that may come in, because again, although we get funding, sometimes the funding isn't as quick as it should be, so we would run out. We would have not a car seat available for someone that may come in on an emergency basis. We have emergency bases all the time. Someone will get emergency temporary custody, or someone would get something of that matter. So they would need a car seat because they didn't have one, or maybe a family member was driving with their child inside the car and would get wrecked, or get in a car wreck, so you'd have to change out the child safety seat. Well, if people would come in and get 2 or 3 for the same child, then that would cut somebody else short from getting another one. We try to discourage people. We always tell them, but it's kind of hard for us to keep track of, especially if they're sending in different family members each time to get a child. safety seat. So we keep track of the people we issue a car seat to. But if we issued, say, the car seat on this, say in January, to this family member, for this child, and then another different family member comes in, say, April, for the same child, getting the same kind of car seat, it's kind of hard for us to put that together and to try to limit to one. And who's to say that, I don't want to send a child away that showed up without a car seat,
Sure.
knowing that they already had one. You don't want to make them unsafe or leave them unsafe and send them away without a car seat. So we end up having to give them another one just so that we're keeping that child safe at that time.
Sure. You had mentioned swap shops and online sales of items, including these car seats for children and such. Just from your perspective or from your experience, what are some of the dangers in using a used car seat? Something that you may have purchased online, from a yard sale, from a neighbor, from a friend, from a family member. What are some of the dangers of using a used car seat?
When I went to the training for the child safety seats, the first thing they were telling us is each car seat, if you look on the car seat, whether you buy it from us, you buy it from the program, the store, or if you get it from my program, each child safety seat is like everything else. It has an expiration date on it. So if you buy a child safety seat from, say, a swap shop or a yard sale, well, you don't know whether it's expired unless you actually look for it. You don't know whether the vehicle, the child safety seat's ever been inside a motor vehicle crash. If it's been inside a crash, it'll cause stress fractures on the plastic or stretch marks, or making seats unserviceable. So when we tell people that come and get them from us, hey, if you get in a car crash, no matter how small, let us know. We'll come back to the program. We'll give you a new one for the child, and we'll discard the other ones. And again, when you buy a used one, or you go and get a used one from the swap shop or from a yard sale or something like that, you're not knowing the history. You don't know whether or not this child safety seat's been inside a car wreck. You don't know whether or not it's been past expiration. And you don't know any of these factors, so it may be to where you get in a car wreck and the car seat will fail you. It may not be working properly. And alone, you don't know how this person kept care of it. It could be all kind of, it may have been outside, the dogs could have been on it, it could have been something, a lot of other factors. But the main one is you don't know the history of it. It's the bottom line is you just don't know the history of it.
Sure. Are there any deterrents to kind of dissuade families from, getting a car seat and possibly, in turn, in a short period of time, putting it or making it available on swap shops or online sales outlets?
Well, right now we currently don't have the deterrent, like, say we don't mark them up and saying that you bought them this, please don't sell. When we give them to the families, we let them know, hey, you need these for this reason. With the fine being that it is at $250 per child, I would believe that would be enough deterrent, because it's enough for them to come down and get one from me, because either they got a ticket from one of my officers, or they've heard me on the radio talking about it and they don't want to get the ticket. So right now all we have is the fine deterrent, saying that it's, hey, if you get caught without a child safety seat and your child needs one, that's a $250 fine for you.
That's a pretty heavy fine, actually.
It is, it really is.
Is there active patrols or saturated patrols on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation looking for families or vehicles that are not restraining children or restraining adults, using car seats, using seat belts? Is there?
Yes, sir. There's 4 of us in the highway safety program, me and the 3 other guys that work for me. We have one campaign a year specifically designed for checking for seatbelt use and child safety seat use. But we have full-time HSOs is what they call them, highway safety officers, me and the other 3 guys, and we do that every day. Every day for me is a campaign to make sure people are wearing seatbelts. Every day when my guys come to work, we enforce the seatbelt use on everyone. It's not where, okay, well, we're not going to do it for a while. No, it's every day we come to work, but specifically campaign is from the end of May to the beginning of June. It's the Click It or Ticket campaign. But like I've said on Key to Radio and other things, every day is the Click It or Ticket campaign for me. Every day I'm out looking for people trying to enforce making sure that they're wearing seatbelts, because I'm a firm believer. Seatbelts will save a life. It's free, comes standard in the vehicle.
Sure.
There isn't any reason why. And which is great about our reservation on the Pine Ridge Reservation, it's a primary law. Mm-hmm. Where the state of South Dakota has a secondary law. It's a primary law. If you could be doing no other thing wrong other than not wearing a seatbelt, I can stop you for that.
Yeah, so aside from the $250 fine, it saves lives.
It saves lives.
Definitely. We're going to take a break and have a word from our sponsors. When we return, we'll discuss a little bit more with Sergeant Ken Franks and his work in public safety. We'll be back after these messages.
I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. Better than ones get on. Very sad, no more love. All that I could do was remember you. You know I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more.
If Youth and Family Services weren't available in this community, there would be a lot of unmet basic needs. Very few organizations do as good a job as Youth and Family Services, getting every ounce of usefulness out of people's time, their dollars that they donate.
Youth and Family Services help so many kids. It's a great value to the community.
Join me because together we help kids.
Being connected to him with the earth.
Positive pride. Pride of being Lakota. Look around you and look at your culture. Look at the people who care about you. There is hope. There is always hope. There will always be hope.
Suicide isn't the Lakota way. If someone you know needs help, please call 867-HOPE, a public service message from the Lakota Voice Project.
Hi, welcome back to Oyate Today. I am your host, Richie Richards. Our guest tonight is Sergeant Ken Franks with the Oglala Sioux Tribe Department of Public Safety. We've had a very informative discussion so far, Sergeant Franks, so I really appreciate your time tonight.
Again, I thank you for letting me come up here today.
Awesome. And so I wanted to ask a little bit about the rollover simulator that the Public Safety, Department of Public Safety has. So could you tell me a little bit about this and how you're using it for education?
You bet. A couple years ago, we had borrowed there was a thing called rollover simulator, and it's a Ford Ranger pickup truck cut with the bed mostly cut off and the motor taken out. It's put on top of a trailer, and it has a motor onto it. So what it does is we take it to the schools, we take it to the different presentations that we got to do. We have two dummies that we put inside there, mannequins that we've gotten with it. We roll the windows down. And what we do is we tell the children, say, hey, you know, this is what it looks like if your vehicle gets in a rollover. We turn it on, and it literally rolls in a circle. Wow. From not end over end, but side over side, and it'll roll, and you can get the speed up going. But even at the slow speeds, it'll show where the bodies inside the vehicle will start banging from side to side. Some will get caught half inside the vehicle, half out the vehicle. Sometimes it throws the mannequin, you know, a good 5-10 feet away from the simulator itself. So we use it when we take it to the schools. We tell the children, we tell the adults there, so well, when you're driving on the road, you never know when something's going to happen. You never know when there's a deer will dart out, or a horse will be out, or something you'll have to do some evasive driving, as you call it, and maybe lose control of your vehicle, or maybe you're tired and you lose control of your vehicle. And you start a roll, and you don't have to be going that fast, and you start to roll. Well, this is what it looks like. This is what it's going to be like. Your body will start moving around. So for them, we strongly, when we do it, we show them this is, and we also buckle them inside there, so that it shows this is what it looks like if you have your seatbelt on, or if you're buckled inside the child safety seat. You won't come out the car. You'll move around inside the car, but you'll still be safe inside the vehicle.
What are some of the reactions from children and family members as they kind of see this firsthand educational, I guess, simulation of a wreck?
A lot of them are responsive to it. They're like, oh my God, oh geez, I didn't know. And because unless you're involved in one of those, you really don't know how violent it is. Mm-hmm. But someone was showing, I've had parents tell me, you know what, Ken, that's pretty graphic. That's pretty that's pretty violent. I said, well, it's not any more graphic than some of the video games that kids are playing, but if it's going to be something that it's going to make your children remember that when they get in the car, they're going to put a seatbelt on because this could happen to them, it's worth it for me. It's like I said, we put a child safety seat inside there. One of our mannequins is a toddler age, so we have them buckle up inside there, and we show what it looks like if, and we always tell them the story, well, Dad's afraid that the cops are going to pull him over, they can't afford $250, so they'll put the child inside the child safety seat, but the dad won't put his seatbelt on. So when the rollover simulator starts, it'll show that the father's moving around inside the cabin of the vehicle, bumping into the child, maybe causing harm or death to the child inside the car. Although the child is safely secured inside the vehicle, the occupants start becoming projectiles inside the vehicle. So then we'll buckle them both up and we can spin it until the motor stops. And no one ever comes out the car, and no one ever banging around inside the car. You might get, in real life, you might get some injuries because of the crushing metal. I can't simulate crushing metal. I can't simulate breaking glass. I can't put things inside there, but you get the general idea. If someone's not buckled inside the car, it'll hurt everyone inside the car as well.
That's pretty eye-opening, I would imagine, to see that firsthand. So I just wanted to kind of talk about some of the positive things in your career in working with traffic accidents. And so is there a story that kind of stands out in your mind or in your work experience in which child safety seats, seat belts have saved lives, and the reaction that you've had professionally or personally within yourself or within the department? So if you could kind of share something along those lines.
A couple years back, we got a call from dispatch. There was a car wreck over on one of our roads on the reservation. There's a gravel section of a road. So we went out to it, and it was a lady we had given a car seat to, and her younger sister, and they had rolled the vehicle. But because she had recently got the car seat, she had her child incorrectly. Her and her sister were both seatbelted inside there. They went away with minimal any kind of injuries and like scrapes here and there. And when we pull up on the scene, we seen this car seat, so we were pretty happy that she had used it correctly.
That's great news. That's great news. Thank you for sharing that. Just lastly, we only have a few seconds, but if you could tell me how the public can help with this mission and how families can contribute to this program to contribute to the success of this program, I should say.
I say it all the time. It's got to be the community buy-in. It's got to be somewhere where the family is ensuring that when their family loved ones get inside their car, that they're being buckled up and that they're putting their children inside these child safety seats. And as long as the community starts putting forth more effort, we'll go a long ways with this program.
So it's beyond fines and...
Oh, it's beyond fines. It's just a community. It's got to be a community effort. It's got to be somebody, your family members telling you, hey, we're not going anywhere until this happens.
Well, Sergeant Franks, I want to thank you for your time tonight. That's our show. Thank you for tuning in to Oyate Today. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot. You've been watching Oyate Today, brought to you by Native Sun News Today.